Okay, so in this week's guitar lesson, we're going to break down a country style lead using the low strings in the guitar, one of those real bassy sounding kind of leads. I'm a big fan of this style. Now, even though this is country style, you can apply this to anything. If you're a blues player, you can take these ideas and apply it to that, or rock or whatever. You can slow them down. But I want to show you how you can take one note from each chord and you can pull this shape or this pattern out of it and really construct your solo doing it. So if you're a visual learner, you're going to totally love this. So in this video, I'm going to break down half of what I played in the intro, actually most of what I played in the intro. I've saved one little part for the part 2 video. So in this video, we'll go through that first part. If you'd like to watch the part 2 video, get the tablature and also get the MP3 jam track, which I have in 2 tempos. I have a slower tempo version of this as well, so you can work up to the speed that you want. You can get all these extra materials for this lesson by going to activemelody.com and doing a search for EP630. Okay, so what I played was in the key of G. And we're going to start off with a G chord here, using the E shape. And when I do that, I'm barring here on the 3rd fret. And that 3rd fret contains 2 G notes. The one on the 6th string and the one on the 1st string. We're not going to worry about the one on the 1st string. Everything we're doing here is pretty much on strings 4, 5, and 6. So let's start with our index finger and play that 3rd fret 6th string. That's a G note, and just connect it in your mind back to this G chord using the E shape. That's where your bar would be anyway if you're barring with that index finger. Okay, so that's your first note. Then we're going to come up here, we're going to skip a fret, and we're going to jump up to the 5th fret on the 6th string, and then we're going to take that same ring finger that we just played, and then we're going to skip another fret and come up to the 7th fret. So we have index, ring, ring. And the reason I'm using my ring finger here and here is because I'm putting my hand in a different position. So there's our first 3 notes, and notice that you're skipping a fret in between, so it's very symmetrical. Now we're going to jump up to the 5th string and play 5, 7. Now what we've just played is the major pentatonic scale. That is the G major pentatonic scale. Now that may be a light bulb to somebody. Maybe you've never seen it this way. So off of this G, I've got my G major pentatonic scale using those low strings. Now from here, we're going to jump up to the 4th string using our index finger again, and this resets everything that we just played. So from here, watch this. We're going to go from here, we're going to skip a fret, we're going to skip another fret, move our ring finger up, and then we'll jump up to the 3rd string and play 7, 9. So it's the same pattern. Look at that. Skip a fret, jump up. So what we just played is exactly the same thing that we started with. So watch this. Let's play the same thing starting here. I just love how symmetrical that is. It makes it very easy to see and easy to remember. And it also makes it easy for your fingers to do their little finger dance when they're dancing around. So you could take that, which is all your major pentatonic scale, and you could start making music even with that, even if you get nothing else out of this lesson. So you could... So anyway, all I was doing there was just that G major pentatonic scale. So let me show you 2 other little extra notes that we're going to spice in some blues, because everything I'm playing there is very major and happy sounding. So let's go back to where we started with this G note down here. We're going to walk our way up to the 7th fret, 5th string. Now from here, watch this. If I go up 1 fret above that, so that would be the 8th fret in this case, I'm playing the flat 7 for my G. So now it's got a bluesy sound. Now after that, I could come up here and hit this G note, which is my octave above where we started, and I could play that flat 7 with the G note and get a real nice kind of little harmony, little bluesy harmony. Now, you would only use that if you want to spice in the blues. You don't have to do it, but I just wanted to point out where that is, that flat 7, in this little shape here. And if you're a bass player, you're probably used to going, playing that kind of classic blues little walking bass line. Okay, so the other note I want to point out is in the same fret. So we added that flat 7 on the 8th fret, 5th string. We're going to be on the 8th fret, but on the 4th string, I can play that note, and that's my flat 3. So what's cool about this, check this out. You're going to love this. From this flat 3, I can go up 1 and hit the major 3rd, or I can slide down and hit the 2 from my G scale. And you'll hear that done quite a bit in the blues. That little slide from the flat 3 to the 2, or from the flat 3 to the major 3rd. There's a very useful little note there. So, my flat 7 and my flat 3. Now we've added a lot. I mean, just with that, with those variables, you can make all kinds of really cool sounds. So let's listen to the jam track with the lead. We'll listen to that first part and then we'll break it down. It'll all make sense now that you know where everything's coming from. All right, so I'm starting off with a sort of a classic little twangy, slidey little lick here. And what I'm doing is, there's my root note, there's my G, right? And I'm just going down 1 fret below it to my 2nd fret and sliding up to that G. Now you could do a hammer-on, you could do it either way, but the thing to pay attention to is what your right hand is doing. It's going down, down, up, like this. Down, down, up, down, down, up. Notice where the slide is. So you may have to just kind of work that out. It's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach kind of thing. A little awkward at first if you're not used to it. But you'll be able to do it if you just kind of practice it. It'll be a fun little thing to sit around and kind of work on. So that's the first little bit. And then I slid all the way up and landed on this G note up here. But I was using that G major pentatonic scale shape that I've already showed you. After the slides, so I walked it up with my ring finger to the 5th fret, sliding up to the 7th fret, and then we go 5, 7 on the 5th string, and then I came back down to the 7th fret, 6th string with my middle finger. And then watch this. So that's just walking right up. So that's 5, 7, 5, 7 on strings 5 and 4. And there's that slide from the flat 3 to the 2. So and then I came to that G note there, which is on the 5th fret, 4th string, and hit it twice. Now this next lick that I played goes, let me do that slowly. This is in that same pattern that we've talked about, the G major pentatonic scale. I just slid up into this position, going from the 7th fret on the 4th string up to the 9th fret. And then 7th fret, 3rd string with my index finger. Now I'm up on the 3rd string. I said it was going to be in the bottom strings, but in this case it's okay. So it's strings 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, down, up, down, up, down, up with the right hand. It's very symmetrical. And then slide down. Those slides are key because they allow you to put your hand in the right position. Let me say that again because it's so important. The slides are important, not just for the sound of it. I mean, it's a nuance for sure, but it also allows you to put your hand where it needs to be. So it serves two functions. And when I slide back down, I've got my ring finger on the 7th fret, 4th string, and I'm going to play 7, 5 on the 4th string, 7, 5 on the 5th string, and my last note is that G note there on the 5th fret, 4th string. Sounds like that. Now watch this next lick. This is cool. So what I'm doing for that is this kind of, it's almost like it's not chicken picking, but it's got that real country kind of little poppy kind of thing. I don't even know how to describe that. I should know that, but I don't. But I do hear this in country, and what you're doing is you're taking advantage of you're playing a note on a string, and then you're playing that string open. So it's like this. Now notice that does not sound good if I do it slowly. That open string is an A note, and yeah, A would be in the scale of G, but it just doesn't sound good. It's a real clash, but what's cool about this technique is if you do it quickly, that really just becomes a percussive note, and it doesn't matter what that note is, which means you could do this in any key and on any string. So when I'm playing this, you don't hear it. You don't hear that A note sounds wrong, because it's really just more of a percussive rhythmic thing. So all of that was happening on the 5th string. I started up here on the 8th fret, then I came to the 7, 5, 3, and then down to the 1st fret and slid into the 2nd fret. So it's down to this G note here, and I hit that with my ring finger. So the thing that you got to do though is play those in between notes. So it's like this. So it starts with a downstroke. It's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Alternate pick that. Just practice that slowly. Set a tempo, set a metronome if you have to. Yeah, I'll tell you how I learned to do this, believe it or not, I was learning to play the song Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Kind of corny. It's not really my thing so much, but I was kind of fascinated with the way he was doing that, the technique of it. This kind of thing. And it's the exact same thing that you're doing here. Just doing it obviously in much more of a country kind of vibe. So everything that we've played so far has been over the G chord. It's just been one chord. Now the song is going to go to the 4 chord, which is C. And I played this. So let's look at that. That's just sort of a country bluegrass style walk up. 3rd fret, 6th string. Then we go up to the 5th string and play open, 1, 2. And it's down, up with the right hand. And then watch this. We're going to do that same technique just like we did for the 1 chord, but now we're doing it for the 4 chord. Remember, the 4 chord when you're playing in the key of G is a C chord. So let's just get our bearings. Our 1 chord is really here. Now our 4 chord is going to be right here. So look at this. There's my C note on the 3rd fret, 5th string. And so I'm playing it now with my ring finger because I walked into it that way. And then I can just do that same technique. Down, down, up with the right hand. But I'm doing a hammer-on with my ring finger. You could do this with whichever fingers you want. You could hammer it on. You could slide it in like we did the first time. Either one of those would be correct. I just did it this way. That's just how my fingers landed. So after this, and I did 2 of those, by the way. 1, 2. I played this. Look at that. So I slid from my ring finger on the 5th fret up to the 7th fret, 5th string, and then did a little bar there and played strings 3 and 4 on the 5th fret. Now what is this? Here's the good news. Everything we learned about that major pentatonic scale and how to connect it to this G note here, it all applies visually. It's the exact same pattern from this note. So if that's my root, which it is, because we're playing over the C chord, right? There's my C note. I can skip a fret, go up to the 5th fret, skip another fret, go up to the 7th fret, then jump up to string 4, 5th fret, 7th fret. That's my C major pentatonic scale. And all of those same things work, like the flat 7, it's there, just like before. The flat 3 of my C, sliding into the major, sliding to the 2. All of that same stuff applies, and even going up another octave. From here I could go. Now notice when I come up to string 2, you have to kind of shift because of the tuning of the guitar. So I'm not even going to play any of those notes. I just wanted to mention that if you're wanting to keep this going and go up another octave, you'll notice you have to kind of shift your hand position there. But everything else is exactly the same as what we did for the G. And so when I'm playing this, and I probably should have set this video up with this, I am following the chord changes. So I'm not just staying in the key of the song, which I could do. I could just stay in the G major pentatonic scale or G minor pentatonic scale if I wanted to do that. But in this solo, I'm trying to follow the chords. I just think it sounds better for this kind of country style. So when there's a C chord happening, I'm not just staying in the G major pentatonic scale. I'm now doing C stuff. So I'm playing C major pentatonic. And C flat sevens and all that stuff just to really color the sound of that C. Okay, so after this, that's where we left off. Then I came up here and played. And that's exactly the same thing that we've talked about for the G. There's sliding up to the flat 7. There's that open string. Now notice I'm hitting the open D string. It totally sounds wrong when I'm playing it slow. But when I'm playing it, when you're just doing it quickly like that and you've got the jam track going behind it, it doesn't really sound bad. It sounds just rhythmic, which is what it needs to be anyway. So I played that and played 8, 7, 5 on that 4th string with that open D string in between each of those. And then after that I went. So that's 7, 5 on the 4th string, and then I'm going to do a slide. Slide from the 8th to the 7th, and then a pull off from the 7th to the 5th. So you're just going to practice doing that. And then we come down to the 5th string and play 7, 5, and then that last note is this C here. So it sounds like this. Now notice when I'm picking that, I pick these notes, and then from here I did a slide, a pull off, and a hammer on to that 7th fret 5th string. So those last 2 notes I picked as well. But there's a series of notes there that I'm not picking. I'm just using a slide, a pull off, and a hammer on to get those notes. That's the only way I'm able to really do them quickly. I don't think I would pick that. I think I would screw it up. But that is just pulling the note. It's actually fairly simple. You could do it slow. Just work it, work with whatever tempo you can do it at, and then you can build it up to tempo. Remember, I do have a slower version of the jam track, so you can start with that and work your way up. Then the song goes back to the G chord, and I just stayed in position here and went. Now you should be able to pause the video. If you're not sure what I'm playing here, pause the video and think about what these notes are. Why is this working over the G chord? We've talked about it already in this video, but I just want you to challenge yourself. So if you're not sure, pause the video. But what I'm playing here, 5th fret, 7th fret on the 5th string, and then I'm sliding up to the 8th fret, which is the flat 7 of G, and I'm hitting the G note with it. So when you're playing those 2 notes together, it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down is on the 5th string, up is on the 4th string. But the sound you're hearing is that flat 7 and then the root note, which is your G. So after that, I came down here and played. I'll put the tab up on the screen. I'm not going to break that down note for note because I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I know that it was in this area, and it's still using those same little shapes we've talked about. And then I landed on that D note, which is my 5th fret, 5th string. And that's actually where I'm going to end this part 1 video, because we're going to talk about what I play over the 5 chord in the part 2 video. That's plenty of information to give you ideas so that you can start using this stuff in your own playing. Take a jam track and start working some of these licks in. You'll see how good it sounds and how easy it is, because it's so symmetrical. That's the whole skip a fret idea. I love that visually. I'm such a visual learner. So for me, that's just easy to remember and easy to get my fingers around. So in the part 2 video, we'll go over the 5 chord and what to play for that. And remember, as a premium member, you'd also, in addition to the part 2 video, you'd have access to the tablature, the on-screen tab viewer, the MP3 jam tracks, which are in multiple tempos, all those extra materials so that you can really practice playing this and getting it up to tempo. So leave a comment below and let me know what you think of this video. If you've picked up some ideas or if any of this has resonated with you, it always is super helpful to me because it lets me know what's working and what isn't. If anything is unclear, you can leave that as well. I do read through all the comments. All right, we'll see you in the part 2 video.